All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. Still trying to get my throat chakra right, trying to get my vibration, my energy levels up. So still doing that, but it's all good. Anyway, so we're going to continue with Maat, M-A-A-T, which is the purveyor of truth, equity, justice, all of that kind of stuff that we don't have in this world. Yeah, I know. Y'all don't get mad at me for saying the truth. But anyway, so righteousness, truthfulness, clarity, also pretty much one of the gatekeepers to the afterlife or to the underworld or whatever you want to say, however you vision it or however you believe. But anyway, so we already did the first couple of principles of and what we call negative confessions. Remember, you are God, so there's no other gods besides you. There's no God. The Most High is the Most High God, and I use the word God loosely, but we should use the word netter or nature. And all of these things are in the nature of man, either to do or not to do. And so basically what Maya did was exposed or uncovered the nature of man and of human, I should say, not just, and I'm not talking about gender, I'm talking about just people in general. So these are the things that would be in your netter or your nature. So as we keep going, so I honor virtue, I benefit gratitude, and then this one, I am peaceful. So today we're going to talk about peace. Now every major religion talks about peace. I mean, there's not a single religion. Most of them have either greetings or things that talk about peace. Uh, if I believe that Assalamu alaikum is greeting, is saying peace be unto you, and then Assalamu alaikum assalam and also unto you. So that's why I say, and then Jesus, according to the Christian Bible, is what? Is the Prince of Peace. All right, so that's why I tell you that within your nature, within your human nature, within the nature of the human, peace is there. But in many cases, it has to be summoned. And basically what's going on right now in our society is that we are being taught not to be peaceful. And that's the thing. So I really think a lot of it has to do with like stuff like black on black crime. If you were truly devoted to being peaceful, then things like black on black crime wouldn't exist. Things like jails and all of that stuff would not exist, because basically all you're doing when you put somebody in jail, you're locking them up so that they'll become peaceful. Think about it. You may not agree with that, but when you think about it, that's what it is. It's forcing a person to become peaceful and to acquiesce to whatever that law is. And once again, you have to realize that the 22 negative confessions of Mayat are not laws. These are not laws. These are netters. These are things that your nature. So you have, just like you have the propensity to be peaceful, you also have the propensity to be what? To be non-peaceful or violent, or and so those are the two extremes that we would look at when we look at the law of polarity when it comes to peacefulness. Because what's above is so below above as above. So the thing is that you definitely have it in you to be non-peaceful. You definitely do. But once again, which part of your of your netter, which part of your nature are you going to feed the most? Are you going to feed the part of your nature which is not peaceful, or are you going to feed the part of your nature which is peaceful? So that's what, and that's why we preach things like meditation, uh, inward thought, being introverted, or being still in order to set things straight. So you have to understand that those are all things that are associated with your nature. But like I said, just like you could be peaceful, you could be violent. Okay, which is the problem, which is one of the problems with people. So while you're going through all of this stuff, one of the main things you have to realize is how does how do I get to the state of violence? And I think a lot of it has to do with media. I don't want to blame the media for everything. A lot of it has to do with the way you were raised, and the people that were around you, and what you saw growing up and all that kind of stuff. But definitely want to reiterate that when you're doing the negative confessions, I am peaceful. So the negative confession is that you're peaceful. It's not that you're violent. Even though, like I said, once again, if you're peaceful, you can also be violent. And I think that a lot of times what the media, video games, all of these outside influences and resources, how your grandma be like, oh, that's with TV, or when any new thing first comes out, she's always like, that's the devil. Oh, that's the devil right there. Don't watch that television. That's the devil. Don't play those video games. That's the devil. And in reality, she's probably right. Okay. In reality, she's probably right, because what is it doing? Is giving you the motivation or the catalyst towards you going into that behavior. Just like I can't imagine that if you play video games where you're shooting people all the time, that you don't become desensitized to shooting people. Or if you play something, or if you see people fighting and beating each other up, or whatever, those things give you, or if you see same thing with knowing about stuff like that, like you see your parents, and you see your parents doing certain things, and the first thing that you do is what? You're going to repeat, or you're going to copy or mimic exactly what your parents do. So a lot of times that's why we get people that are victims of, or have seen a lot of domestic violence, basically perpetrate domestic violence against the people that they love. And it's just like anything else. Like we talk about planting seeds, so it's like planting a seed. That's what it's like. It's like planting a seed, and eventually, when that seed takes full growth, then that's when the behavior manifests. So the things of peacefulness, like being like there's certain things that I know that people do in order to become peaceful. So one of them will be like yoga, meditation, prayer, communing with nature, like sitting out in nature, watching the things that are in nature, birds and other animals and everything. Because when you're doing that, 9 times out of 10 is tranquil, because it's silent, and silence is a friend of peacefulness. So those are the type of things that you should be working on, or so that you can reach your higher self. And the other thing is, when you look at all these 42 negative confessions, if you can keep them and be like, you're not going to be able to keep them perfectly, but if you can try to practice these things, then eventually what happens, then you open your third eye. You can try to get to that level where you are at your highest level. You see what I'm saying? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the in the balance thing. You're trying to tip the scales in your favor. So So that's why we look at that. And like I said, every religion, every major religion, has some element where it talks about peace. Um, but then the opposite of that is it also usually has some element where it's talking about violence. And like one of the things, like I noticed, like what is it, like a lot of these reality TV shows, what do? They make people fight against each other. They promote violence against one another, or show that violence against one another is cool, or it is somehow, some way, shape, form, or fashion, it's okay, to raise your voice, or to be out in the middle of the street yelling and screaming at each other, or to be in some venue all dressed up yelling and screaming at each other. And I know y'all can hate me all you want, but I'm a priest. All right, I'm a Kemetic priest, so I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I'm not going to tell y'all, oh, it's okay, that's just a TV show. No, because even though it's just a TV show, it has literally thousands of viewers watching that and thinking that that's okay and that's all right. And so all I'm doing is I'm bringing Mayat to the table and saying, no, it's not okay, it's not all right. Um, you have to think about the things that you plant into your head, and the things that you think about, the things that you imagine, that you aspire to, and all those things. Those things are important, because um, if you don't take these things into account, then what happens? Then eventually, um, you're gonna end up mimicking those behaviors that you see, or you'll think that those behaviors are all right, or even worse, when a situation comes up, that's how you'll handle the situation when it comes up. So if a situation in your life comes up, and you're in a confrontational situation, then chances are you're gonna handle the confrontation the way you think is okay, or the way you see your peers or people that you associate with, or you think that you would like to associate with. You're gonna handle it in that shape, form, or fashion. So almost like the old birds of a feather flock together. So if you constantly all day long you see, just like I tell my daughters all the time, they don't like when I tell them, but I tell them, don't be out there fighting people in the street and raising your voice and all that. That's not necessary. And the same thing for guys, because that's how a lot of people end up dead or in jail, because they don't know how to practice peacefulness. And I'm just telling you, and it has nothing to do it has nothing to do with Kemetic spirituality. It has to do with reality. Because the reality is, if you're so upset, and if you're so agitated and all that, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna put you in jail, or they're gonna treat you some other type of way. Or if there's no authorities involved, then what's gonna happen? That person that you're being violent or aggressive against is going to become aggressive against you. And most of the time, in fact, I would say 85% of the time, most murders are senseless. Most of them are senseless. They have no, you know, no, you know, reason to exist. And I remember, when my dad was alive, I used to talk to him a lot about this. But when back in the day, there was no black on black crime. And the black on black crime that they had, it was like they fought with their fists. It was almost like Pops in Fridays. You know, use these. And then you come back to fight another day. There was not all this going home, or going to the trunk, getting a gun, or pulling a gun out your waistband or whatever and killing somebody. And what really happens is, when that happens, not only do you take the life of that person, but you take your own life as well. Well, anyway, fastest 15 minutes is up. Be peaceful. Be peaceful towards everybody. And peace be unto you, and peace be upon your house and on your home. I love you all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but most of all, hit the love button.